but what does it really mean for the markets and what is the outlook going ahead? Let's try to understand more on that. We are being joined by Samir Arora, founder of Helios Capital, joining us on the show. Hi Samir, very good morning and good to be speaking with you. 50% tariff on India. How do you think that the markets will digest this, or they have already digested the fact?
Well, this news now, because it came out on Tuesday, as of now, the first round reaction is done. And in the end, because it was expected running into this period that this will happen. So I don't think this alone, as of now, will make a difference to the market. It makes a difference to those sectors and to the people and those businesses and those jobs in textiles and in carpets and shrimps and all that, where a lot of people are employed. But from a market point of view, A, because these sectors are mostly unlisted, and B, because in absolute the numbers are very small from a country point of view. Therefore, from a market point of view, it doesn't matter. And also at the back of the mind, everybody broadly believes that this is a 3-6 month and not even 6 month, maybe 2-3 month kind of a situation, because either the war continues and Trump becomes very serious and therefore he puts these high tariffs or sanctions on all the countries, and then of course India will have to take a view at that point of time. Right now, because it looks so unfair that only India is being charged, therefore I think we are assuming, everybody is projecting that it is a 2-3 month here or there kind of an event. The additional 25%, that is. The first 25 will remain till India does a deal in more formal sense.
Absolutely. And I'm just wondering, Samir, what stops India from using pharma as the bait, just like it was rare earth by China?
Now, these words we can't use on TV, but India has no bargaining power. You can't take one and start doing it and bring down everything else that is associated. In the end, it is beneficial to not fight. It is beneficial to keep a low profile. It is beneficial to buy oil but not say that you are buying oil publicly. There is no need to throw it in their face, and also definitely not to escalate from your side. You have no bargaining power. Pharma, in 30 minutes somebody else will do it and forever these things will be lost. No, there is no bargaining and there is no need. Even if we had, imagine that Europe is not bargaining, Japan is not bargaining, even China is broadly not bargaining. There was an initial 25%, and then there is this whatever 25%, and there is still that fentanyl tariff, and nobody is fighting. There is no need to fight or throw imaginary weight around.
Sure, I get that. So let's talk
about... in fact, we are all saying, the market is saying that even US throwing its weight around is not working on us. So our throwing weight on them, how will that work? If we right now say we are bullish, we don't care for this extra tariff, that means whatever they are trying to do is not impacting us. Whatever we will do will not impact them in that meaningful way, so don't do it.
Yeah. What we can do is, of course, look forward to the GST rationalization, right? September 1st week, Samir, when those rates are going to get announced. Do you think that is what the market should be focusing on? The domestic economy, the way the government is actually backing demand coming back? You think that's the assumption?
Big picture, you can spin it into very positive. It's all in the mind. How? That the reforms or the changes or the delta on economy, on local action is permanent, whatever they do, in response to this event which is temporary. So imagine if you had got the 25% tariff only and no additional surcharge, and then the Indian government or the system would have accepted it, and all these, you can call them not desperate, but response, reform, whatever, would not have been done or would have been done at the original slow pace. Now we get many of those things, many changes, many help to the sectors, to consumers, to industry. And then after 2-3 months or 5 months, this extra 25% tariff goes away. So at the end of the day, it's a much better deal for Indian corporates, Indian consumers to have this situation where the pressure is temporary, but the response and the good response will be, sort of permanent. Now, in terms of the GST, it's very positive, but only thing is that they should not try and balance it by putting some sectors into that high tariff to try and make it a zero or a low net impact on the fiscal deficit or whatever, because otherwise you will hurt another sector and help these sectors. Overall, I don't believe that it changes the consumer stocks as much, because according to me, the basket of the consumer has changed. So that means if you save money on a soap or you save money on a shampoo, it does not mean you're going to buy another shampoo. You might buy a jean, or you might use it somewhere else, or you might use it on data, or you might use it in whatever else, travel, if you big, whatever. The point is that the response is diffuse, but the thumb rule is that money with the public is better than money with the government. So in that sense, it's very positive, yes. And they may save some and they may send us some on SIP or whatever. So it's not a one-to-one that if you cut this, that consumption will go up, because maybe you don't need to spend, you don't need to buy more units of that. But overall, the money with the consumer is more, then he can do whatever he wants with it.
But with respect to the flows, Samir, what we are getting to see is that the FPI interest rather is not there in the Indian markets. And like you have been pointing out, that there stands a chance maybe in the next 2 to 3 months that additional 25% tariff that can be taken back. But till that time, Samir, till the markets have that clarity, do you believe that the FPI inflows will be arrested and it will only be... Yeah.
FPI level has too many confusing things, but overall FPIs, I think, are not negative. So let me explain another way. First is, of course, that if you start from Feb end or Jan end to now, the FPI flows combined are about zero. But imagine this has happened in between, where the last 1 month and a half, there has been very big, whatever we may call it in the end, short term, but it's a negative surprise for many simple-minded FPIs and for macro type of guys. And secondly, the results were definitely below what we would have imagined or expected. But look at it differently, that the one big reason for the FPI selling number is that the private equity guys get classified, some as FDI, some as FII. And those guys are not selling because they find China better or Korea better. They are selling because they have made money on those stocks which are going public. They may have lost on maybe 10 times that on the private companies that never went public or cannot ever go public, but on whatever has been successful, they are selling. And that is all getting mixed up. So the people who are reviewing different countries and saying, should I go to Korea, should I go to Taiwan, should I go to Russia, it is not clear that those guys are walking away. This is a technical issue, but it will remain for long, that the private equity guys, if he puts in $50 billion in 1 year, then Mota Mati on average 5-7 years later, assuming that even if he gets 15% dollar return, whereas he's dreaming of more, he has to take out $100 billion and there's nothing you can do about it. So we can keep talking about it in terms of FII selling, but these are all the same guys. It's the same end investors who sometimes come via public market, sometimes via private market. And it is their selling which is causing these numbers to look so negative or near zero. So I think the traditional FPI is not so negative, and the private equity guy is not selling because he's negative. He's selling because his other markets and his other stocks in India have failed to reach that stage of going public, and time is passing. So whatever has worked for them, they will sell.
But Samir,
what I'm trying to say is it's not all negative in that sense. It needs a small twist and you get even these numbers, because the big picture thing is, I'll just give you one number. You have to answer. So the US market is up 10% this year in dollar terms. Okay. Just tell me how much is the world excluding US up this year?
Don't know. You would have those numbers.
It's up 25%.
Wow.
25% in dollar terms. One reason is because the dollar has depreciated by 10%. So but bottom line is because everything is measured in dollars. So S&P is up about 10, and MSCI World, excluding US, there's an ETF or even an index for that, is up 25%. So there is this little bit of a shift from US to non-US, because for many years US only kept outperforming. And in that, India has a chance and had a small claim, if not a big claim, but definitely last 1 month, whatever we may say, it is negative for this, but plus minus a few weeks, months, this will all sort itself out. But as I said, even even if you consider that, please note that the private equity money leaving, which some of it gets classified as FDI, some as FPI, is not so much a sort of a negative view on India because of which they are selling.
Sure, I get that, Samir. But Samir, for domestic investors, do they change their portfolio stance, get more consumption in, go a little light on capex? Do you need to make those changes and adjustments?
Big picture, I think that will happen, yes. Big picture, that will happen, because if the government gives a big sort of whatever, a boost to consumer, which means they are cutting the GST and not trying to make up intra-consumer, then means that overall the government is spending on capex and all will come down, which for the last many years was very high. But after the budget in 24 also, it looked that this was not working, and therefore we had sold our railway stocks and all these other stocks. But broadly, big picture, that would be right. All I'm saying is what happens is that in the consumer sector, because there are so many unlisted companies and the basket has changed, so it is very difficult to pinpoint that one-to-one, that because there is a cut in this, therefore you'll be buying extra soap, shampoos and all that. I don't believe that anymore. But the fact that there'll be more money with the consumer in general means that consumer sector will do well, yes.
You'll obviously spend that.
And also, previously in 24, in the budget, the government gave this tax cut of 1 lakh crore, which also comes actually monthly. Because it didn't come at one shot. It is from your monthly TDS or whatever is the word that you'll have less deducted. Yeah. And this money was being wasted or blown away in F&O and in Dream 11 type companies. So that money also has to go somewhere else. Now, not all of it will be on foreign gambling, which is not as easy to penetrate and not easy to advertise. So therefore, people say, people will buy, bet on foreign apps. Maybe 3% will do that.
Golgappas, no? That's where it should go. Right?
My view is, at the end, if you save 500 rupees, you know what to do with it. You can order something at home on an extra day.
Yeah. Or maybe drive in an Ola electric scooter.
No, right? That one is okay. That one, no, they're not changing for 500 rupees.
Okay, Samir, great having you on the show. Always good chatting with you. Thanks for your time today.
Bye.
Okay, let's look at the market setup then. It was sure quite a bit of step back. The market was very swift in digesting and adjusting a little bit to that additional 25% tariff, which, by the